were given to reveal the physical manifestations of the power of the Almighty and to make His presence known in the world. The Most High often used signs to send a message, warning, or to mark the fulfillment of a promise. Unfortunately, many of those signs were ignored or misunderstood, even though they could be seen or even experienced through the senses. A good question to ask is, why do people ignore warnings and disregard warning signs? Is it because of a lack of understanding, rebellion, or a fear of accepting the truth? It's possible that it could be a little of all three. So in this session, we will look at various signs that were given in Scripture to prove the authenticity of the Most High's Word. A good place to start is to examine the sub-Saharan and transatlantic slave trade. Now, some may ask, why slavery of all things? I want to start there because it is the fulfillment of a prophecy given long ago, and we are living in the age where we can see how the prophecy has unfolded. Did you know that the things experienced during the slave trade was supposed to be a sign? Let's look at this verse from the 28th chapter of the book of Deuteronomy. It says, "Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you, and pursue and overtake you, until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of the Most High Yah, to keep His commandments and His statutes, which He commanded you. And they shall be upon you for a sign and a wonder, and on your descendants forever." Now, even though we point to these curses and show how slavery and the oppression against our people aligns with prophecy, many of them can't see it. They throw the whatabouts back at you. Well, what about the Irish? And what about the other people who were slaves too? Even though these specific curses did not happen to those people. And this right here is the kicker. Deuteronomy 28:68. "And the Most High shall bring you into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto you, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no one shall buy you." And this is when they say, see, that couldn't be talking about Negroes, because it says right there that no one will buy you. And this is the head scratcher, family, because it says right there in the same verse, you will be sold unto your enemies. Even historical writings verify these truths. Roman historian Tacitus described the Roman siege of Jerusalem. He describes the Israelites who were living in the land, comparing them to Ethiopians. Obviously, they had the same features and dark melanated skin. He said, "Many assure us that the Jews are descended from those Ethiopians who were driven by fear and hatred to immigrate from their home country when Cepheus was king." This is a picture of a young Ethiopian man. So the Israelites had the same features. Now compare that to how the people are depicted today. Yet Amos 9:7 tells us that the Most High says to the Israelites, "Are you not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Captor, and the Syrians from Kir?" But you know what's interesting? The origin of the Israelites, or the chosen people, is based on Scripture. But people ignore the words of Scripture that tells us what they look like and what their condition would be in the last days. Imagine that. In his book, The Great Roman Jewish War, 66 through 70, the Roman historian Flavius Josephus stated over thousands of years ago that the Israelites migrated into Africa. He writes, General Vespasian and his son Caesar Titus fought against the Jews. Listen, millions of Jews fled into Africa, among other places, fleeing from Roman persecution and starvation during the siege. Millions fled into Africa. That's a whole lot of people. How many would that add up to today? Unfortunately, it's easier for some folks to believe the lie that was created by the Roman Catholic Church and European leaders about the lost tribes. They just disappeared from history. Why? This is a truth they really don't want to know. Listen to what Malcolm X said in 1962. We believe that the miserable plight of the 20 million black people in America is the fulfillment of divine prophecy. We believe that the serious race problem that our presence here poses for America is also the fulfillment of divine prophecy. He was right. It was a fulfillment of divine prophecy, but many failed to recognize the signs. So let's shift just a bit and talk about some other signs in Scripture. How about this sign? This was right before the Exodus, and Moses was told to perform certain signs before the Israelites so that they would know that the Most High had sent him to deliver them. So the signs were supposed to serve as evidence or proof to validate the words of Moses. This is Exodus 4, 8 through 9. The Most High says to Moses, if they will not believe you and will not respond to the evidence of the first sign, they may believe the evidence of the second sign. And if they don't believe even these two signs or listen to what you say, take some water from the Nile and pour it on the dry ground. The water you take from the Nile will become blood on the ground. So the signs were supposed to serve as evidence. They were given 3 just in case folks missed the first 2. When you study the signs given to men, there is something that holds it all together. They had a supernatural element, and it took an act of faith to believe it. The sign or signs were something out of the ordinary. There was no explanation for how it was done. Let's talk about the ark during the flood. Now, there are some who would say, well, this wasn't a sign. But consider that Noah was building this massive boat as he talked about the impending judgment for over 100 years. He told them why the judgment was coming, and folks totally ignored it until the rain came. Noah was ridiculed. I'm sure more than a few folks thought he was out of his mind. Now keep in mind that the book of Enoch tells us that men were crying out and their voices reached unto heaven because of the evil and the destruction happening on earth during that time. So they didn't think that the Most High would respond to their cries, or they didn't expect him to answer in the way that he did. But Noah was supposed to be the mouthpiece. He was being used to give a warning to anyone who would listen. Let's talk about Gideon. He actually asked for a sign to prove that he was actually receiving a word from heaven and that the Most High was ready to save his people from their oppressors. This is Judges 6:17. Then he said to him, if now I have found favor in your sight, then show me a sign that it is you who talk with me. Now, if you read the entire chapter, you'll see that Gideon was being asked to go and save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. And it says, and an angel appeared to him. It says, angel of the Lord. I'm reading it as is here. I have said previously that translators have caused a lot of confusion by using angel in places where heavenly beings are appearing unto men, because they didn't know how to differentiate between these heavenly beings. So it leaves the reader thinking that whenever you see angel, they are all the same. But the first thing this heavenly being says to Gideon is, Yah is with you, you mighty man of valor. Those words are important. Yah is with us is also used as a title, Immanuel, when referring to Messiah or Savior. But look at how Gideon responds to this heavenly being that he's interacting with. He offers up excuses for why he should not be the man. He says, well, if the Most High is with us, why then has all this happened to us? And where are all his miracles which our fathers told us about? What else did he say? He says, well, how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. So this heavenly being says to him, surely I will be with you, and you shall defeat the Midianites as one man. So Gideon goes to prepare an offering, and when he brings it back, this heavenly being that he's interacting with touched the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and there rose up fire out of the rock and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. Now this is a sign. It's supernatural. But guess what? Gideon was still struggling with his faith, so he asked for another sign. Let's read this from Judges 6:36 through 40. He said to Yah, if you will save Israel by my hand, as you have said, look, I will put a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If there is dew on the fleece only, and it is dry on all the ground, then I will know that you will save Israel by my hand, as you have said. And it was so. When he rose early the next morning and squeezed the fleece together, he wrung the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. But guess what? He still needed another sign. Then Gideon said to Yah, do not be angry with me, but let me speak just once more. Let me test, I pray, just once more with the fleece. Let it now be dry only on the fleece, but on all the ground let there be dew. And Yah did so that night. It was dry on the fleece only, but there was dew on all the ground. When you read that passage, you can see how patient the Most High was with Gideon. He was struggling, but he kept asking until he had the confidence he needed. Let's look at another sign, and this is certainly a sign that no parent would ever want to hear. But this is the message that was given to Eli after he neglected to rein in his two wicked sons. Let's read this from 1 Samuel 2:31 through 34. Behold, the days are coming that I will cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house, so that there will not be an old man in your house. And you will see an enemy in my dwelling place, despite all the good which Yah does for Israel. And there shall not be an old man in your house forever. But any of your men whom I do not cut off from my altar shall consume your eyes and grieve your heart, and all the descendants of your house shall die in the flower of their age. Now this shall be a sign to you that will come upon your two sons, on Hophni and Phinehas, In one day they shall die, both of them. As I said, no parent would want to hear this. So, in essence, he's being told, when you see the death of your two sons in one day, you will know that everything else that's been said regarding your house is going to come to pass. He says, I'm going to cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house. Your strength, your name, your posterity will be cut off. So we have something happening right now so that Eli will know this is true. His two sons will die in one day. But it's also a sign for future reference as well. So twofold. A sign is given in the present for something that will also be true in the future. So I shared those passages about signs in Scripture so that you will have a better understanding of the information I'm going to share now. And bear with me because I believe that you will see how all of this will tie into the title of this message, We Were Given a Sign. It stems from the video we uploaded a few weeks ago called Guard Against End of Days Deception, speaking about the divinity of Messiah. Now, I had some folks commenting that they were surprised that people are struggling with that concept. And sadly, there are some who either believe that he did not exist or he was not divine. And there were comments that gave me pause. However, I want to highlight just a few, and I'm only showing the comment without the name of the individuals. This is not something I would normally do, but I was being led to cover this so that it will be beneficial for all, not just the person leaving the comment. You also need to know how to respond to these types of statements. So this person said, Immanuel was the son of Isaiah, per Isaiah 7:14. Here is the Strong's number 6005. And the person is saying, based on the Strong's definition, when it says Immanuel, it's talking about Isaiah's son. This is the passage being referenced. It comes from Isaiah 7:14. Therefore the Most High himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Immanuel. Curds and honey he shall eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that you dread will be forsaken by both her kings. Now, when we look at Strong's 6005 as referenced in the comment, we will see that it tells us Immanuel means with us is Yah, the name of a child. And when you drop down and look at the Strong's exhaustive concordance, it says from I am and el for L with a pronominal suffix inserted with us is Yah, Immanuel, a type name of Isaiah's son, Immanuel. So it can lead some to believe that the title in reference is to Isaiah's son. So let's look at the prophecy concerning his son. So let's look at it in Isaiah 8:1-4. The Most High is speaking to Isaiah. He says, Take thee a great scroll, and write in it with a man's pen concerning Maher-shalal-hash-baz. This is Isaiah's son. And I took unto me faithful witnesses to record. He took Uriah the priest, and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High to me, Call his name Maher Shalal Hashbaz. For before the child have knowledge to cry, before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. Now let's look at the Strong's Concordance 41:22 for the name of Isaiah's son, and I will do my best with his name, Maher Shalal Kashbaz. It says it means swift is booty, speedy is prey, symbolic name of Isaiah's son. So we have to make sure we're paying close attention because it could be assumed that they are telling us that this is the name for his son. As you look down in the definition, you see Isaiah's son, name of Isaiah's son, but it says symbolic. But let's look at something else. Even here, when you look at the Blue Letter Bible, it says Immanuel means Yah with us, or with us is Yah, symbolic and prophetic name of the Messiah, the Christ, prophesying that he would be born of a virgin and would be Yah with us. But when you look down at the Strong's definition, again you see a type name of Isaiah's son, Immanuel. In order to understand the prophecy given to Isaiah, you have to understand the prophecy that was given to Ahaz. He was the king of the house of Judah at that time. So let's read this from Isaiah 7. And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin the king of Syria, and Pekah the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up toward Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim, and his heart was moved, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind. Then said the Most High unto Isaiah, Go forth now to meet Ahaz, you and Shear-Jashub your son. So Isaiah already has a son. So he's told to go to the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. So what's happening here is that the king of Israel has teamed up with a king from the other nations, or one of the other nations, to go up against the house of Judah. They want to set up their own king in the land. So listen, this is what Isaiah is told to say to Ahaz. Take heed and be quiet, fear not, neither be faint-hearted, for the two tails of these smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rezin with Syria, and of the son of Remaliah, because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against you, saying, Let us go up against Judah and vex it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabeal. So thus says the Most High Yah, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. So he wanted to reassure Ahaz. Then he tells him in verse 8, For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin, and within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. Now, family, are you hearing what the Most High is telling Ahaz? Ahaz is like, what? The house of Israel will not be a people in 65 years? This is hard for him to accept, hard for him to believe. And how do we know? Verse 9, he goes on to say, and the head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If you will not believe, surely you shall not be established. So because Ahaz is struggling with this word about Israel, the house of Israel being cut off and not even being a people anymore, the Most High says to him to ask for a sign. Ask thee a sign of the Most High Yah. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. Basically, he's telling him, ask for something out of the ordinary. Ask for something spectacular and amazing to help you believe this word. But listen to what Ahaz said. Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Most High. Now, obviously, he's not believing Isaiah. Why would you say, I don't want to tempt the Most High when he just told you to ask for a sign? So he refused to ask. But pay attention here, because now you're going to see a shift. When we look at verse 13, now the prophecy is to the house of David. So Isaiah says, hear ye now, O house of David. Is it a small thing for you to weary men? But will you weary my Most High also? Therefore the Most High himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Immanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. Now, hopefully you caught that. Even though Isaiah is speaking to Ahaz, the words being uttered is to the house of David, because Ahaz refused to ask for this sign. So the Most High said, then I'm going to give you one. Now, the prophetic word spoken is about this virgin conceiving and bearing a son, and his name will be called Immanuel. But do you see how these words are different from the words were spoken about Isaiah's son? The word about Isaiah's son said, for behold, the child shall have knowledge to cry, or before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother. The riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. That's not what it says here in verse 16. This prophecy here is specific to this child that would be born that Isaiah is referencing in verse 14. Before the child shall know how to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. Now, what's interesting is that I read this also from the Septuagint, because the last verse was not flowing regarding the child. And it was still a bit sketchy as I was reading it in the Septuagint, so I had to do some more digging. So I went to my hard copy of the Septuagint, the 1851 translation, just to see if it read the same way. And I'm going to read it. I have the version that I just read from highlighted beneath it so that you can see the difference in the two. And the Most High again spoke to Ahaz, saying, ask for yourself a sign of the Most High Yah, in the depth or in the height. And Ahaz says, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Most High. And he said, hear ye now, O house of David. Is it a little thing for you to contend with men? And how do you contend against the Most High? Therefore the Most High himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive in the womb, and shall bring forth a son. And you shall call his name Immanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, before he knows either to prefer evil or choose the good. For before the child shall know good or evil, before the child shall know good or evil, he refuses evil to choose the good. And the land shall be forsaken which you are afraid of because of the two kings. Now, hopefully you see that the meaning was slightly changed. And if you're going to show yourself approved in these days, you're going to have to keep digging if things are not lining up. And I'm telling you that because some of these resources are changing right before our eyes. So it's good to have some hard copies. In the 1851 version, it's telling us that before this child is old enough to even know good or evil, he will refuse evil and choose good. How is that possible? This is telling us that he's born with that ability. He also ends it by telling Ahab, you're worried and afraid right now because of these two kings, but this land is going to be forsaken anyway. Okay, so this is key as well, so pay attention. We're looking at Isaiah 8. We're going to read this in context so that we can see that the title Immanuel is not being ascribed to Isaiah's son. And also you will see as we go along that there is a shift in the prophecy. So let's look at it. Moreover, the Most High said unto me, he's speaking to Isaiah, take thee a great roll and write in it with a man's pen concerning Maher-shalal-hash-baz, Isaiah's son. And I took unto me faithful witnesses to record. So he took with him Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah. Verse 3, and I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High to me, call his name Maher-shalal-hash-baz. So we see here that Isaiah's son is named, and his name means something. We covered that earlier. But listen to what it says in regards to this son. For before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. So this child born to Isaiah also serves as a sign. And the sign would happen in the day of Ahaz. So Isaiah was given a dual prophecy. Ahaz was told about the prophecy to the house of David regarding the virgin that would have the son. And his name, the title bestowed upon him would be Immanuel. But that is not the name that was given to Isaiah's son. So let's keep going, and you're now going to see the shift in this prophecy. Verse 5, the Most High spake also unto me again, saying, for as much as this people refuses the waters of Shiloh that go softly, and rejoice in Rezin and Remaliah's son. In other words, the people are refusing what was sent by the Most High, Shiloh. Instead, they are choosing the ways of the heathen. They rejoice in Rezin and Remaliah's son. Because of this, he says in verse 7, now therefore, behold, the Most High bringeth upon them the waters of the river, strong and many, even the king of Assyria, and all his glory. And he shall come up over all his channels, and go over all his banks. And he shall pass through Judah. He shall overflow and go over. He shall reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings shall fill the breadth of thy land, O Immanuel. I hope you're hearing this. This is a dual prophecy. Because the people refused what the Most High sent, now they're being given over to another people. They will come into the land and take Judah into captivity. They're coming into the land that belongs to the landowner, Immanuel. So he says, associate yourselves, O you people, or O ye people. And he'll say this 3 times. You shall be broken in pieces. And give ear, all ye of far countries, gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Take counsel together, and it shall come to naught. Speak the word, and it shall not stand, for Yah is with us. Now verse 9 is another shift in the prophecy. So there's a deeper meaning of the prophecy, that this sign was for the house of David. Isaiah's son serves as a sign for something that would happen in their day. But Ahaz was also given a prophecy speaking about the child that would be born to the virgin. Now, in verse 8, you're going to see the judgment that will come upon the house of Judah for refusing the waters of Shiloh. That's significant. So let's dig a little deeper. If you look at the Blue Letter Bible, you will see that Shiloh means sent. Sent. It says Shiloh, sent, a fountain just southeast of Jerusalem. Let's go back to that passage. The people refused the waters of Shiloh the Most High sent, and because they refused him, he turned them over to their enemies. Let's look at it in the Septuagint, and you will see the meaning clearly. And the Most High said to me, take to thyself a volume of a great book, and write in it with a man's pen concerning the making a rapid plunder of spoils. That's the name of Isaiah's son that we see in the KJV and the other versions. But here it's telling us the meaning. Write in it with a man's pen concerning the making a rapid plunder of spoils. So Isaiah's son served as a sign as well, but he was not Immanuel. It says, for it is near at hand. And make me witnesses of faithful men Urias and Zacharias the son of Barachias. And I went in to the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. And the Most High said to me, call his name, spoil quickly, plunder speedily. For behold, speaking of Isaiah's son, before the child shall know how to call his father or his mother, one shall take the power of Damascus and the spoils of Samaria before the king of the Assyrians. And the Most High spoke to me yet again, saying, now you see another shift in the prophecy. Because this people chooses not the water of Siloam, that goes softly, but wills to have Racin and the son of Ramalias to be king over you. So you are rejecting me, and you are choosing the ways of the heathen. Because you're doing this, therefore, behold, the Most High brings upon you the water of the river, strong and abundant. even the king of the Assyrians and his glory, and he shall come up over every valley of yours, and shall walk over every wall of yours. This is your punishment. You're going to be overtaken, and he shall take away from Judah every man who shall be able to lift up his head, and everyone able to accomplish anything, and his camp shall feel the breath of thy land, O Immanuel. His camp shall feel the breath of thy land, O Yah with us. Now you see another shift. Verse 9. He's speaking now against the ones who came against his people. This word is to the Gentiles. Know ye Gentiles, and be conquered. So you're now going to be conquered because you conquered my people. He's saying, hearken ye, listen. He says, even to the extremity of the earth, be conquered. This is the word against you. After you strengthen yourselves, for even if you should again strengthen yourselves, you shall be conquered. And whatsoever counsel you shall take, the Most High shall bring it to naught. And whatsoever word you shall speak, it shall not stand among you. For Yah is with us. Because they came in and conquered in the land that belonged to Immanuel, now you're going to be conquered because Immanuel is with us. I hope you're getting this. So, family, we have to be able to see how these things connect. If you picture prophecy as a tree with many roots, they all begin somewhere, and you have to be able to follow it out to see what it points to. We can't isolate them. So can we rule out Isaiah's son being Immanuel? I would say yes. Isaiah was given a dual prophecy concerning the deliverance of Yah's people. It would be the ultimate deliverance. The son born of the virgin, Immanuel, Yah with us. He represents the flowing rivers, Shiloh. Now let's go back to Ahaz, because that was not the end of the prophecy that was given to him. This comes from Isaiah 7:17 through 25. The Most High shall bring upon thee, upon you, Ahaz, and upon your people, and upon your father's house, days that have not come, from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Most High shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. And they shall come, and shall rest all of them in the desolate valleys, and in the holes of the rocks, and upon all thorns, and upon all bushes. In the same day shall the Most High shave with a razor that is hired, namely by them beyond the river, by the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the feet, and it shall also consume the beard. And it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep. And it shall come to pass, for the abundance of milk that they shall give, he shall eat butter. For butter and honey shall everyone eat that is left in the land. And it shall come to pass in that day that every place shall be, where they were 1,000 vines, at 1,000 silverlings, it shall even be for briars and thorns. With arrows and with bows shall men come thither, because all the land shall become briars and thorns. and on all hills that shall be digged with the mattock. There shall not come thither the fear of briars and thorns, but it shall be for the sending forth of oxen and for the treading of lesser cattle. So he's telling him what is going to come upon the land. Judgment. This is for the house of David at this time. He's given this prophecy that is specific to his day. And these things happened. These things were fulfilled. So again, we could see that there were various prophecies given through the prophet Isaiah. Ahaz is being told, but some of the things were supposed to happen in his day. He was supposed to see it fulfilled. And then some things, as in the child being born of the virgin, would be for a future event. Now, as I said at the beginning of the message, the things that happened to us were to serve as signs. We are only able to understand some of them now because we can see how they were fulfilled. The word for sign is off. It's an omen, pledge, witness, and they can be wondrous, as in there's a supernatural element. The Most High often used signs to send a message, warning, or to mark the fulfillment of a promise. We as a people were given a sign, and we also serve as a sign to the nations. How is it that some can see and understand and others can't? Well, it's the same with the divinity of Messiah. Some will, some won't. I still have a few more of the comments, and again, I only share them because I believe it will be beneficial to all of us. But we will get into it on the live this coming Wednesday. You're welcome to join me for that. So I'll wrap up here with this from Zechariah 9:9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king is coming to you. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey. Who is this talking about? He is a king, he is just, and he has salvation. It says he will come riding on a donkey. For those who have eyes to see, you know that this is talking about Messiah. So I hope this message has been a blessing to you. Please remember to hit the like, share it, and you're also welcome to subscribe if you have not already done so. We normally upload messages on Sundays at 8:30 a.m. Until next time, be blessed, family.